All right, let's move on to the next 1 p.m. spot, Bills, Titans. And this is not on the board at many spots. And as you can imagine why, a couple offshores are hanging either Tennessee as a favorite, a very slight favorite, which is shocking. The licensed books have not put it out on the board, and that's because Titans had to cancel last week because of their COVID test. They're expected to be let back into their facilities tomorrow. They have, at this point,
positive tests today, I believe.
0 positive tests today, yes, but 20 positive tests as of 5 or 6 hours ago. Now, 10 of them are team personnel. And so at that point, I think we should just say there's been 10 positive tests. So we don't care if the masseuse has COVID.
No, that's a big mistake, Jimmy. Those guys are important too. It's like that time Mike Myers made fun of the audio guys at the Oscars and they cut his mic. You're asking for trouble here, Jimmy.
I might be, but let me give a big shout out to Robert Kraft for getting off his charges at that dingy ass. What do you call it? It's just a dingy little jerk and go there. Good work, Robert Kraft. You got your best lawyers on it. They had tape of you, and you got off.
Billionaires get shit done.
I like it. No, I like that he got off, man. The guy's a widower. Let him get – okay. All right.
I don't know if I can agree with you here, Jimmy, but I like the hard line you're taking.
Oh, I'm so happy he got off. Attaboy, Robert Kraft. Now pick a better spot next time. You want the old jerk and tickle, all right?
Oh, he got off.
On the reserve COVID-19 list, Daquan Jones, their defensive captain, their long snapper, Bo Brinkley, wide receiver, Adam Humphries. Okay, wait, let me give you a test, Rob. How many of these names do you know, okay? Obviously, Daquan Jones, Bo Brinkley, Adam Humphries, okay? Kamalai Correa, Christian Fulton, he was their second-round pick out of LSU, probably Cameron Batson, Tommy Hudson, Gregory Mabin, Jeffrey Simmons. He's actually on their roster.
No, Jeffrey Simmons is actually an extremely underrated player.
He's on their roster.
No, that guy can play ball.
We've got a bunch of practice squatters in here. Offensive tackle Isaiah Wilson. He was their first-round pick out of Georgia. He's been out on the COVID list since September 6th. Kari Blossengame. How many of those? Over 50%?
Well, I'm ridiculously obsessed with this game. So, yes, I recognize most of those players. But as far as impact players go, beyond Jeffrey Simmons, maybe Humphries, it starts looking kind of bleak. But Simmons, I think, is a huge factor. Personally, like that guy's a space eater on defense. He's one of those guys who doesn't necessarily show up on the stat sheet week in and week out, but he's super important. I think their defensive line, he was drafted last year, but he was out for the season with an ACL. So this is essentially his rookie season, even though it's his second year. And he's an important player. He's that DeForest Buckner type that you don't always see on the stat sheet, but man, he's doing everything right. He's eating space. He's eating bodies. So he is a big loss. Beyond that, it's like the B squad went out drinking at a pub and they all got sick together.
And that's sort of what I'm kind of alluding to, that it's not. But you're right. You made a good point on Simmons. Let's talk about the Bills. They moved to 4-0, and Dennis Garcia says Buffalo has switched roles: elite offense, mediocre defense. 4-0 after their 30-23 win over the Raiders, averaging 30.75 points per game. That's third best in the league. Allen goes 24 of 34 for 288 yards, 2 TDs, 0 interceptions. Stephon Diggs, 6 catches for 115 yards. 9 different players catch passes. And then linebacker Delshon Phillips and Zach Moss missed last game and a questionable play this week, but it's Levi Wallace and Matt Milano. They're week to week. So that cornerback Levi Wallace is very good. Matt Milano, very good. They're week to week. Brian Winters, guard, questionable with a knee injury. We don't have a total up yet, but I think that people could take – I think the over is going to be in play, first off, and I'm curious. I'd like to guess what we think the over is going to open at. And the last few years when these teams played, they've been very low-scoring, tight games. I certainly don't think that's going to happen this year. Bills-Titans. What do you think, Bebsy?
I mean, all I can go off is an offshore book right now. The fact that the Titans are favored seems insane to me. Just look, yes, they technically have another week off rest, but it feels like that's it's not a calm week off. It's not like they had a good relaxing week off. They're probably all wondering if they're going to get sick. So 20 positive tests, 10 player tests. Really, we talked about this. The only super significant player is Jeffrey Simmons, maybe again Humphreys, but to me, this is a very, very good Bills team that people are still sleeping on. It seems like no matter who they beat, no matter where they win, no matter what they win by, people are still just like, yeah, it's the Bills. And I get it. It's hard to put stock in the Bills, but I loved them last year. That defense was phenomenal. They were getting better. They added some important parts to make that offense better. The offense has looked much better. McDermott is, again, if McDermott was coaching somewhere else, we'd be talking about him every week, but nobody cares what's happening up in Buffalo. But they're going to keep shocking teams. And to me, if this book, this I see one offshore book that has -1.5 for the Tennessee Titans. This is a no-brainer. You take the Bills. I think the Bills, if anything, should be favored here.
What do you think of the look-ahead spot for the Chiefs? Brady says, Bills have Chiefs on deck. 5-0 versus 5-0, massive look-ahead spot. 100% they want Bills money. What do you think?
Yeah, look, Bertie, love you, respect you, but I just don't. I think look-ahead spots are a lot worse for teams with bad coaches. I don't think McDermott is one of those bad coaches. I think the Bills, this shouldn't be a look-ahead spot. The Titans are still a good football team, so you should really. They're going to take it week by week. I have too much respect for McDermott to think this is a look-ahead game.
Well, the books that have opened up, they want Bills money, and they're going to get it. I'm very interested to see where this ends up. We had a guess from Dennis on the total at 49. It's funny because I was guessing 51, so I was going a couple points higher. I'm very excited about this spot. I'd love to see, because there's just going to be just a landslide of money that comes in on the Buffalo Bills here. There's Bills Titans. A couple offshores have hung a one's hung a 1.5 on the Titans. One's hung a 2.5 on the Titans. It's a very tricky game. Are the Titans rested? With all these COVID tests?
I would say the Titans should be rested, but look, I don't care how good a shape you're in. There's still anxiety when everybody around you is sick, especially with COVID-19. So I don't know if it's resting in a typical bye week of resting. And frankly, the Bills are healthier than they've been in recent weeks. So I'm on Bills hard. It's hard to say right now with just the one. I can only see the one book that's up right now that has anything, but. If that's what it comes in on, then it's Bill's easy pick for me.
Yeah, I see a couple. There's a third book. I see 3 books up, either 1.5 or 2.5s. Okay, there's Bills Titans.